Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another live show, Epic Drone Show, and this is Epic Drone Show episode 18. This is a live show if you're watching at 7:42 p.m. New York City time. So you can comment live within the video's comment section, and I'll have the opportunity to respond face on video. So I see we've already got a lot of people tuning in. We've got John G. We got Christopher, we got Cynthia, we got John, we got Cynthia, we got Evan, and hello everyone. Welcome aboard to another Epic Drone Show. This show is live and it's all about drones. Boston here, we got East Coast, we got all over. We got Detroit, the Big D. That's awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of things that have happened, and if you've been following current events as pertaining to drones, Cynthia says, can you give me a shout out? Yes, I can. Shout out to Cynthia. Thanks for tuning in live to Epic Drone Show. Just wanted to mention that if you were unable to catch this live, or if you wanted to watch the previously recorded version, you can always go to epicdroneshow.com. After this show concludes and processes, it'll be available there along with all of the other previously recorded episodes. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Got to give Evan a shout out. Shout out to Evan. Shout out to Russ, Alabama. That's a cool state. Russ from Alabama. Let's see. So the Lily Lily camera, the Lily camera. That's something that we all are probably familiar with. And that particular camera, or drone, I guess I should say, it was announced today that it's been discontinued. Joe from Dallas, welcome aboard. Dan B says, yo, what's up? So, yeah, the Lily camera it was announced today that it's been discontinued. It's been in the works for several years, and unfortunately, their email, the gist of it was that they just ran out of money, so it's not going to happen. And that's a shame. Anytime that a drone startup, or any sort of startup for that matter, has desire to want to succeed, and then they unfortunately fail. I can't think of a way to. Well, I guess there's worse ways to fail than running out of funds to bring your product to market, but. Anyway, that's what happened. So we won't be seeing the Lily camera. If others may have been excited about that, I know now, the way that UAV technologies have rapidly evolved, it would have already been obsolete had they brought it to market. Cynthia says, I liked your video and subscribed. Way to go, and share with others too, because this is an independent channel. And it's your viewership, your likes, your comments, you sharing with others that enables this channel to continue to grow. I'm not part of a multi-channel network. I'm an independent channel, so I really do appreciate it. Charles said, Irix, I wanted to let you know that the Autel Robotics X-Star Premium new 1-inch sensor camera is 4K 60. Awesome. Yeah, that's it's hard to get excited about something that's on paper. But I hope that they execute well, because I think Autel, if everyone, other viewers out there aren't familiar with what Charles just mentioned, Autel is a drone manufacturer that on paper they pride themselves upon being very customer centric. If you look at their designs, they look very similar to the DJI Phantom, and I don't mean that in a degrading copycat type of way. They look like something that may evolve into a true competitor. Again, got to get it in my hands, got to take it out in the field, see how it performs. But I'm very impressed on paper with what the 2017 Autel drone is expected to bring to the table. That 1-inch sensor camera option, and again, Charles just mentioned it is 4K 60, so that's absolutely outstanding. And we've already discussed it has it's purported to have retractable landing gear. That's huge. Modular camera, that's huge. You don't get that, at least with the current model Phantom models. And it's got the just so many features. 360-degree camera option, also a thermal FLIR camera option, or maybe you want to call it FLIR or whatever. I don't know if it's a FLIR camera, but it's some sort of thermal camera. Let's see, we got some more comments. Cynthia says maybe you can do a giveaway. Actually, I've done a few giveaways, and I plan to do a lot more. So stay tuned to youtube.com/IrixGuy. Adam says, did you tune in to 60 Minutes? It's a TV show. They had a cool episode about autonomous drones. Any thoughts? Yeah, actually, I've got a lot of thoughts about autonomous drones, and that's I didn't see that episode, but that's an interesting point. Autonomous drones, for people out there that may not understand what autonomous means, basically it means that a drone flies itself by way of GPS and or other technologies. So it's able to, someone's able to plot a course, and the drone's able to follow that. Now, obviously, with any sort of autonomous drone operation, it would be paramount that the operator maintain visual line of sight with that drone and have the controllers in their hand should there be an issue, so that they can avoid something potentially catastrophic for the drone. You'd have to be able to immediately take over manual control and safely navigate that drone back to the ground so it can land. I mean, obviously, you're going to be flying in a safe location anyway, so if it crashed, the only thing in jeopardy would be the drone. But yeah, I think there's a lot of growth potential for autonomous drones. And again, at a worldwide level, some countries may be more tolerant of autonomous flights than others. There's a lot of countries, most countries, and again, check with your local country legal system. But there's a lot of countries that do have a requirement where that operator's got to maintain constant line of sight. So autonomous flight outside of line of sight of the operator would not be an option. But we'll see how these technologies continue to evolve. I mean, we've got self-driving cars that are trying to become mainstream. We've got all kinds of stuff coming down the pipe. So it's going to be exciting nevertheless. Charles says they will be dropping the FLIR Duo first quarter and the 1-inch sensor camera second quarter, all modular. One drone, just swap cameras. I like that idea. I mean, in essence, the drone becomes a tripod. You buy a tripod, you can mount various cameras to it. You don't have to rebuy the tripod every time. And I like the way that's heading. John says, have you tried any 3DR drones? I tried to convince myself to try one, but it's yesteryear's technology, as much as I hate to say that. I mean, it's not, will they come out with a new drone? I don't know. The 3DR Solo did not pique my interest. Cynthia says, okay, I will have notifications on your channel because your vids are the best. I appreciate that. I actually have a Phantom 3 Standard. Cool. So let's see, what else do we have? A lot of exciting stuff. I mean, again, we've just hit 2017. I mean, this is a time where we saw CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, and again, the Autel drone was the big thing out of that. But I think the big 2017 announcements will probably come around what's referred to as the NAB, National. I think it may be a National Association of Broadcasters. It's a big show that caters to cameras and drones and that sort of stuff. Kind of like a CES, but more drone and more camera centric. And it makes me wonder, why don't they have like a drone convention? They've got Consumer Electronics Show, they've got NAB. Why don't they come out with like some sort of trade show that's drone centric? And why don't they invite my channel to be there? That'd be really cool. Get a backstage pass and be able to be that dude. Maybe do an epic drone show live from their event. So yeah, right now, talking about drones personally, I'm torn. I'm torn between Mavic Pro. Hold on a second, I gotta type something. Yeah. Had to type a message. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff coming around, and one of the things that I was excited about was the Mavic Pro, and I'm excited to get my hands on a second Mavic Pro and hopefully be able to achieve as good or better video performance than I did with the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4. And the Phantom 4 Pro, I hope to revisit that and hopefully stumble upon one that doesn't have the intermittent video glitch that I encountered with mine, unfortunately. Charles says, been flying Alltel since the day it released, and I fly nothing but Alltel now. I sold all my DJI gear. I'm working to get one in your hands. In my hands? Whoa. That'd be really cool. Yeah, and by the way, if you're looking for Alltel drones, let me toss everyone a link here. I've got a link on my... By the way, if you go to epicdroneshow.com, you'll be able to find this as well. But here's the list of current model Alltel drones and accessories. And I don't, again, the one that was mentioned at CES 2017 is not yet available. I would love to get my hands on one as soon as possible. I wish they had a review kit or something. They're like, hey, dude, you want to check this out and field test it? I'd be like, yeah, man. It'd be really cool. But, yeah, so what do y'all think's coming? I mean, it's just now 2017. I mean, what's coming for the drone industry in 2017? Got more people tuning in. Yeah, this is got a good turnout going here. And that's something I want to encourage everyone to do. If you haven't shared this link, this live show that you're watching right now, share it on your social media and help help to expand the footprint here. Because again, this is a live broadcast. I don't have, you can see behind me, I've got my typical studio, but I'm not doing the live chroma key today. It's a situation where I'm always working to optimize my lighting and other studio technologies. It's something I want to have. I want to have a multicam set here soon. So let's see. Soar Over 1 says more government oversight in 2017. What do you think's coming? What do you think's coming in 2017? Soar Over 1. Jake, my opinion, and this isn't isolated to drones, anything that's refurbished, when I think of something, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but when I think of something refurbished, I think of it as something, well, it didn't quite work right, and it was sent back. And then I see this, like, lazy dude or gal or whatever, and they're like, yeah, this is a return drone, and they just, like, pull it out, and they're like, oh, it works, and they put it in a box, and they sell it to somebody else. So in my opinion, it's an opportunity to potentially inherit someone else's problems. Check out my 400 Below website if you're looking for pre-owned. And again, there's a lot of new drones on here as well. But I've got a link at the top that says Drone Auction, and you can check that out if you're wanting to buy used. That may be a good place to look. Let's see. Russ says agreed. More government overreach. Russ says maybe some form of transponder on UAS. NASA is supposedly working on it now. That'd be really cool, so you know where it is. Yeah, regulation is a painful thing at an international level. I mean, regulation can be a positive, but a lot of times over-regulation typically hampers technological evolution. So, you can see where there's so many restrictions that hobbyists, they may be like, well, I'd like to get one of those drones, but I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid I'll get arrested for going out and playing with it. And that's the extreme scenario. People are so frightened by the uncertainties that they may avoid becoming part of an otherwise great hobby. So I mean, it's a scary thing. And the good, I mean, in looking at it from the flip side, is that you've got a lot of fools out there that shouldn't be flying a drone anyway, and the regulation could potentially land them in a lot of trouble, and hopefully they would never fly a drone again. But we don't want to see that, because then the media, they're going to pick it up, and they're going to make a dog and pony show out of it, and and ruin the positive perception of the hobby for everyone. So it's such a mess. It's like anything else. Anything comes out. It doesn't have to be a drone. It can be anything. People are going to misuse it, and that's the bad part. Soar Over says, I feel they will limit people from making money with drones and start making drone companies turn over accounts with, I don't know. What's your favorite drone? Favorite drone, that's a tough question. I will say at this point in time, this being January the 12th of 2017, I will say it's the Phantom 4. And the reason I say it's the Phantom 4 and Phantom 3 Pro, for me both, were neck and neck, rock solid competitors. Stable 4K 30 video, silky smooth 4K video from an image quality perspective. It was just both were really good platforms. I preference the 4 over the 3 Pro now simply because the design, the structural build quality of the Phantom 4 seems to be slightly better than the Phantom 3 Pro. And obviously it's a newer technology. It's got a little bit longer battery life. It's got obstacle avoidance, which I personally don't care about, but I do admire the fact that the Phantom 4 has obstacle avoidance because it makes the drone be perceived as more safe. I mean, ultimately, it's something I would never trust to be safe, but it's there and it makes the perception of the drone more palatable in the eyes of many. So, for that reason, I would say Phantom 4 right now is my favorite drone. That being said, the best video quality that I've captured to date was from the Phantom 4 Pro in 4K 60. Absolutely outstanding when it didn't glitch. The DJI Mavic Pro, the most portable drone I've used to date. But the camera quality was not there. Even tapping to focus, I could not achieve what I felt was acceptable focus. And that was with the most current firmware, the most current app version. I hope to circle back around with the Mavic Pro again soon. And, maybe my unit being one of the earlier units was semi-defective. Maybe that was the case. So, I don't want to throw in the towel yet because I would like to say that, I can get as good or better results with the Mavic Pro than I did the Phantom 4, but that wasn't the real-world case for me. So right now I stick with the Phantom 4 as being my favorite drone on the market today. But I'm lusting after a 4K 60 frames per second drone. Will that be the Phantom Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro, a newer version of it? Will that be the Phantom 5? Will that be another company's drone like Autel? I mean, who knows? I would love to get my hands on that Autel drone. I wish they'd hurry up and be like, hey, dude, we got a review kit. You just check this out and tell us what you think. I'll tell you what I think, and I'll tell the world what I think. But I have to get my hands on one first. So right now it's pure speculation. Charles says the media is not helping the drone pilots of our industry. They make drones look like big, evil military-style aircraft. There needs to be more positive education by the media. I agree. And I agree so strongly. Actually, I created the Drone Evangelist. And the Drone Evangelist is and it's something I've got to create more content for. But the Drone Evangelist is the guy that preaches the positive, safe, and responsible use of drones. He's the guy that just says, this is how you should use a drone. Use it safely, use it properly, have fun, educate others. Spread the word with others. Safe and responsible drone use. So that's the Drone Evangelist if you want to check them out. I couldn't agree more strongly with your statement. Jake says, which drone would you recommend for 4K for the cheapest price? Well, obviously I would recommend this one right here. Again, emphasis upon cheapest price. I would check this one out. That one right there. The Pro model. Uncle says, just tuned in, was thinking of getting a Mavic, but having issues with my DJI Osmo camera since the firmware update. Yeah, don't develop an opinion of a drone based upon the Mavic. Don't develop an opinion of a drone based upon the performance of the Osmo. For everyone that may not be familiar with Osmo is a DJI handheld gimbal stabilizer. And you can check out several videos on my channel where I've demonstrated the Osmo. I was mildly impressed by it. But, and again, your statement about the don't jump to assumptions. But I have heard from others that the support is terrible. But again, there's been only 2 issues with DJI drones, with DJI Phantom drones, that I've been unable to self-troubleshoot and self-resolve. And one was Phantom 2 Vision Plus. I was in a safe location. I crashed into a tree. It was piloting air on my behalf. Again, a safe location. That drone was toast. My first Phantom 4 Pro came with a bricked controller. I could not resolve the issue. Tried everything. That was a dud. I sent it back. I didn't deal with support. So I've never dealt with support, but I've heard people say that support is horrible. With that said, I've flown Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom 4, Phantom 4 Pro, and Mavic Pro. And you can check out my videos and see it's been a pleasant experience, with all except for the Mavic Pro and the DJI Phantom 4 Pro. I still haven't gotten those to be 100% solid performers for me. And I'll admit that. I'm not trying to tell people, oh man, it's the newest, it's got to be the best. Historically, that's been the case with DJI, but I have my doubts with the Phantom 4 Pro and the Mavic Pro, just based upon my personal in the field experiences. Cynthia says, do not get the Phantom 4 Pro Plus because the built-in screen has a lot of bugs. Well, that's good to hear, because that was their big sell. They were really trying to tout that screen and say, how easy it is to see it in bright sunlight, don't have to use a sunshade, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, thanks for the cautionary words on that. Alan says, maybe seeing the more underwater drone would be cool. Actually, there's an underwater drone that was announced, and I hope to get my hands on one soon. Stay tuned for the videos here on the IrixGuy's Adventure channel. That'll be really cool to see how that thing performs. I forget the exact name of it. Charles says, brother, I'm working to get you an Autel XSP for review. Dude, that would be really cool. Because good or bad, it would be for the world to see. So, Mr. Tony Polly says, love your channel. Dude, I love your viewership. Because again, this is an independent channel, and it's viewers like you that enable this channel to continue to grow. Robert Cook says, going to get my Phantom 3 standard next week. First move to real camera drones. Any tips for someone jumping from toy to real drones? I bet that's cold up there. Well, a few tips. Check out, and again, I keep touting this website because it's my website. Check out 400orbelow.com. I'm going to continue to post a plethora of content there. I've already got a lot of stuff in the blog section you can check out. Mr. Tony Polly says, have you had any body cracks with your prior drones? I have not, but I am familiar with the purported issue. The issue being a lot of people, and I think it may have been isolated to the Phantom 3 version. I had the Phantom 3 Pro. I never encountered the issue, but before my maiden Phantom 3 Pro flight, and you can check out that flight on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy where you're watching this. But before my maiden Phantom 3 Pro flight, the first thing I did, I attached quick disconnect prop guards, and part of the quick disconnect prop guards, part of the Phantom 3 Pro quick disconnect prop guard installation was attaching these things below the motors, and those remain attached to the drone. And what those function as, they function as the piece of the drone that when you attach and then detach your quick disconnect prop guards, when you put your drone in the case after flying, it makes it to where it's small enough to fit in most cases. So I feel that if there was going to be a cracking issue with my Phantom 3, I feel that I may have avoided that potential issue by, again, before flying it, before putting the stresses of flight, before subjecting my Phantom 3 Pro to the stresses of flight. The first thing I did, I had taken those screws out that were factory tightened, My assumption is that if people did experience cracks with their Phantom 3, whatever Pro, whatever model they may have had, it may have been the product of over-tightened screws from the factory. Again, just an assumption. I never encountered the issue. I don't know anybody personally that's encountered the issue, but I've seen the reports on the internet. And my assumption is that if mine was going to be prone to cracking, that it would have been that it was likely avoided because I took the factory tightened screws out, replaced them with my quick disconnect prop guards, and did that before my maiden flight. Jake says, have you ever flown a Phantom 3 Standard? Not the Standard, but I've flown the Phantom 2 Vision Plus, which also used a Wi-Fi technology. You know, a good performer. Again, once you step into, let's say, a Phantom 3 Advanced or a Phantom 3 Pro that has the LightBridge technology, it's such a different experience. I mean, Wi-Fi is great. Don't get me wrong. I had hundreds of fun flights with my Phantom 2 Vision Plus, but you know, when you step to that new LightBridge technology, it's a different animal. Just a lot more reliable FPV stream. Alan says, my Phantom 3 Advance after last update now loses signal. Going for repair. Charles says, awesome show. Really enjoy the fellowship and info sharing. Irix tells it like it is and should be. Got to run. Hey, dude, thanks for the support, man. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not part of a network. You know, I can say what I want to say, good or bad. You know, I don't have an allegiance to anyone, so I can say whatever, and I appreciate that y'all appreciate that. Russ says, how long do you wait to do firmware updates on your DJI equipment? I find that it's wise to wait a week or two to make sure there aren't many bugs. Well, I'm the guy that always does it as soon as it comes out, and part of the reason for that, and again, I may be in a different, I've got a different reason for doing that, and my reason is that, you know, I embrace the possibility of failure. So when I install that latest and greatest firmware update, I know it's not best practice to do so, but when I install that latest and greatest firmware update, I'm assuming the risk. You know, if there are not yet discovered issues with that firmware version, then I fully expect to encounter them. So for me, it's a troubleshooting challenge. You know, and hopefully it's something, if I install a firmware update and I showcase it all over my channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy and 400orbelow.com, you know, maybe others will see it, and maybe it'll prompt them to hold off and wait and see, you know, if the next version is better. But I mean, I've never, to this date, I've never installed a firmware update to any of my Phantoms that's rendered the Phantom inoperable. So, you know, with any other technology, if you're not just talking about drones, but you're talking about computer equipment, this, that, and the other, obviously it would be best practice to not just march forward with the latest and greatest update without waiting a little bit. Typically, staying a few versions behind is often best practice. You know, let others discover the bugs, let the manufacturer discover the bugs, and hopefully not roll into something that could create problems potentially. Jake says, how far is the range of the Phantom 3 Pro? You know, and that's something I always fly line of sight to be safe and responsible, but with that being said, I have had several opportunities to be out over empty and open ocean. And in those scenarios, I've really put it to the test. And I mean, the range that one can achieve with a Phantom 3 Pro is, I mean, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it's way beyond line of sight. So, you know, I don't have an exact distance, but, what's the noise in the background? Actually, it's my hard, let me move this over here. And can you hear the noise now as it still is pronounced? Appreciate the heads up. Does it sound like a high-pitched buzzing type noise? Like I've got about 38 terabytes. Well, actually, I've got more than 38 terabytes. I've got, let me see, how much storage do I have on this Mac? Let's see, 28 times 2. Let's see, 30 times 2 is 60. Minus 4, 59, 58, 57. I've got 56 terabytes of external hard drive storage. So you're probably hearing the fans and the vibrations from that 46 terabytes of hard drive storage. So yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. Adam says, what is the worst loss crash you have endured? again, I always fly in a safe and responsible location. Anytime my drone, if it's going to malfunction, it's going to be in a safe and responsible location. With that said, I have crashed into a tree, and it was my Phantom 2 Vision Plus, and it was my own fault. It was in a safe and responsible location. I crashed it into a tree. The drone was completely destroyed. So that was my biggest loss. But it was, again, every time I fly a drone, I have a complete. My expectation is that I will never see it again. That maybe it'll crash and it'll be destroyed, or maybe it'll do whatever. I mean, let's see, just snagged. Evan says just snagged an Asus ZenBook. That sounds cool. That is really cool. So, what else do we have? What other drone things we got going on here? I know it's going to be an exciting year. Yeah, storage is important. I mean, it's I don't retain everything, but all of my quality video, not necessarily the edited video projects, but any sort of good video clips that I've filmed, I always keep them because I use them for green screen. I use them for various purposes. So right now, I think I've got, of that 46 terabytes, I've only got, currently I've got 10.12 terabytes remaining. So that should give you an idea of the quantity of video that I film here on IrixGuy's Adventure channel. Alan says, on the same update for Phantom 3 Advanced, change shutdown procedures to moving only the left joystick. Wish they would advise new changes before doing the update. One of the points of concern that I've always had, and again, I've yet to encounter an issue except for the brick controller that I got with my first Phantom 4 Pro. I've yet to encounter an issue with the Phantom that I couldn't self-troubleshoot and self-resolve, but there seems to be a lack of... it's a cool product, but there always seems to be a lack of documentation. And, it's one of those things, I don't really frown upon it because it is a new hobby. I mean, it's not a new hobby now, but it's still a somewhat new hobby that's, again, in its infancy. And I expect those sort of things. And I mean, I look at it as, it's just a challenge to get it out and tinker with it in a safe way. So let's see, what else we got here? Russ says, you're doing an awful lot of good cinematic video. What camera settings are you using on your Phantom 4? I appreciate that. And actually, the settings I'm using, let me get a link here. Let's see. Be just a second. I'm searching for you, man. Got it on here somewhere. Had to upgrade my web servers, man. My website, if it's ever a little bit slow for y'all, it was just got so much traffic. I mean, that's a good thing, but I had to upgrade to a new host, and it should be faster now. But these are the settings. And this is referring to Phantom 3 Pro, but the same would be applicable for my Phantom 4. So let me get you a link to this. So those are the settings I use. Yeah, Alan says Amazon deliveries by drone. That'd be really cool. Cynthia says, do you have a vlogging channel? Video logging. Actually, I've got a vlogging playlist on my channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy. And I need to do more vlog style posts. For everyone that may not be familiar, vlog is a video blog. So you're basically just doing something. You pull out your camera phone, you're like, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. And that's a vlog. So yeah, I need to do some more. Posts like that. Thanks for the question. Evan says, I'm sipping on some scissor. No, this is just fine drink. So what else? What else we got? What else are we excited about by the drones? Yep. So we got. Let's see here. Just checking a bunch of comments coming in. This is great. So what do y'all think about the live show format? Is it a cool thing for the channel? Do you? Let's see. Jake says, do you think the Phantom 4 is worth an upgrade from Phantom 3 Pro? I do not. When it comes to Phantom 4 and Phantom 3 Pro, again, I think the Phantom 4 is better. It's got a better build quality. It's got a more internalized gimbal. And obviously it's got obstacle avoidance. I found the 4K 30 frames per second video quality and video stability to be negligibly different at best. Therefore, I could not recommend an upgrade from Phantom 3 Pro to Phantom 4. If I didn't have either drone, I would most likely go with Phantom 4 for the reason that it does use, at the time of hosting this live show, it uses the most current battery format. So, you get an older drone, you may encounter a situation where the batteries and accessories may not be as more prevalent. So just that's my feedback there. Jake says, I love the live shows, keep them up. I will do that. I'm going to try to do them more frequently. Russ says, live show, I like it. Good way to communicate with the community. I strongly agree. That's one of the hidden powers of YouTube, is that a lot of people, they're like, man, why are there just so many stupid videos out there? I mean, videos that one person may feel are not significant, they may provide value for someone else, where it's entertainment value, educational value, or just curiosity value. I mean, there's a lot of value within YouTube content, and then obviously this live format takes it to the next level. And something I want to do, this evening on the studio, I'm not even on my green screen set, this, that, and the other, but I've got to work on the green screen set and add multiple cameras and multiple mics and really make it cool. Alan says, very cool, thanks. A live think tank. Very cool. So, yeah, we got a bunch of excitement in 2017 and beyond for drones. And obviously it's all going to be here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. So, right now I'm just torn between, smaller or, let's see. Jake says, I watch Casey Neistat and Jake Paul, and I like your channel just as much because of the live shows. That's a huge compliment. And, I'd reached out to, unfortunately never responded, but I was in New York City, and I reached out to Casey Neistat. I'm like, hey, man, I want to get up and do a YouTube collab. And he never responded. But that would have been pretty cool, down in Central Park or somewhere, and collaborating with a very large YouTuber. Adam says, do you recommend an island to visit that's drone friendly and a good place to film? Well, again, regulations are always changing. Check with whatever area, but for that reason, I couldn't really recommend a place. I mean, most of the time when I go out, I'm out on a boat, and then I take the boat to just some remote place, and there's nobody around, and I fly. So I don't really have to. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, I'm always aware of where I am and any sort of obstacles that may be in close proximity. So, most if you go to the islands, I mean, they're typically pretty chill. It's just a different mentality down there. So, let's see. Todd says, anybody, is the new firmware good? Haven't installed it yet. I haven't installed it yet. Cynthia says, what are those orange cases in the back? Great question. Actually, let me send you a link right here, and you'll be able to find it. Comes in other colors too, but I like to protect my drones. So it's the drone case right there that's in yellow. But obviously that's the case on the table. That's a camera case. And I've got a link to it as well. But the one that's right, yeah, that's a camera case. But there's a big version of it that's for the drone. So yeah, good questions. Good questions. Well, let's see. We're about 42 minutes in, and I'm going to do another live show. Hopefully, maybe even tomorrow. Maybe I'll even be able to do one tomorrow. But I want to work towards a more scheduled live show format. Now it's kind of been when I feel like it, and I host them whenever. So there's really no even semi-formal schedule for the live shows. So I want to work on that. But yeah, this is all for today's show. Again, check out epicdroneshow.com, and you'll be able to find this previously recorded episode there, as well as all of the older episodes and upcoming episodes too. This video, this live show will become a recorded video here soon. But yeah, so that's all for this evening. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Great conversation here. Yeah, I appreciate y'all's viewership. And again, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. YouTube.com/IrixGuy. Share this video with others. Check out epicdroneshow.com. And most importantly, y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure